Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms, and today we have Guan Yu wheel on the kingdom 1245, and we're gonna make the commander spotlight for Guan Yu. We're gonna talk everything there is to talk. I know a lot of you have a lot of concerns about Guan Yu, so I'm actually here to help you out and actually tell you where you can actually use best Guan Yu and what else, pairings, talents, and everything there is to talk about Guan Yu. So the first thing we have to do, we obviously have to summon him, and let's go straight into business. Summon Guan Yu, Lord of the Magnificent Beard. What the hell? Alright, legendary. Legendary Magnificent Beard? Let's confirm. And obviously we're gonna get the Return of History bundle probably in just a couple of moments. He's somewhere here in the bottom, and we still have Leonidas that we haven't summoned. Let's go ahead and let's purchase the Return of History bundle. There you go, it just popped up, £5. This is an insanely good bundle every time you summon a new commander. Just a couple of moments and we will be right back. I'm not sure if this tiny scrawny guy it's actually good. He needs to go something like this, and processing and a little bit more of processing, and purchase successful. Connecting, please wait. Yes, WTF to that. And we have purchased the Return of History bundle, 10 sweet legendary sculptures. Again, this is one of the best bundles that you can get every time you summon a commander. For $5, pounds, whatever currency you have, you get a lot of gems, stars, sculptures, even experience, plus some VIP points. Really good bundle, one of the best. Now let's go back and let's continue our commander spotlight about Guan Yu, because oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about him. Yes, we do, and a lot of players have many concerns for Guan Yu, saying that he's not really that strong on the battlefield. Well, I'm here to actually explain you that situation, because it's a little bit simple. But before we get into that, there's a couple more things that everyone needs to know when we talk about legendaries. You want to know about the sculptures, how many you need to actually max out a legendary. You want to know about the stars, how many you need to max out a legendary. Approximately on the stars part, the sculptures is exact. Another couple more important things about legendaries and the other commanders in general is that talents only apply from the primary commander. You also want to keep any commander at 1 star, specifically legendary, until you max out their primary skill in general. Their primary skill is kind of the best skill they have, and you want to maximize that. After that, you want to unlock the other stars and you want to continue upgrading your commander. It's also important about the equipment. Equipment again only applies from the primary commander, so whichever is your primary commander, you want to make sure that that commander has the right equipment. Going through his skills, like I said, his primary skill is very formidable, 2000 direct damage factor if he is the primary commander leading, and it can hit up to 3 enemies, but obviously the damage is decreased for each additional enemy. As a second in command, he only has 1000 damage factor, which it sounds pretty low, but there is a reason why a lot of players still use Sansu on the battlefield. His second skill is specifically for attacking garrisons, normal attack damage, and it has a chance to reduce the attack reduction of the garrison, so obviously that is very good for rally. Then he has his third skill, infantry attack bonus 30%. That's pretty significant. That's a lot of attack. 50% march speed is definitely not going to be slow, and when you're retreating or whenever you're leaving the battle, it actually gives you up to 1000 healing factor. That's not bad at all. We know one commander that actually does that, and that is Lohar. And then we have his fourth skill with additional damage factor, a 50% chance. When the skill Saint of War, which obviously is his primary skill, hits only 1 target, there is a 50% chance to deal additional damage factor, 600 up to 1000. When the skill hits 2 or more targets, there is a 50% chance to deal additional damage factor of 100. Now this is something very important that a lot of people want to keep in mind. this is not restricted of him being primary or secondary. So even if he is secondary, you can still benefit from this additional damage factor, meaning that this can actually make Guan Yu a much powerful nuker than Sun Tzu. After that, we have his expertise. Whenever Guan Yu gains a shield, he also increases his active skill damage by 15%. Well, this kind of gives people a lot of ideas, because we have Alexander that does shields, Leonidas only does shield when he's 50%. We have Charmaine does some kind of a shield, but Charmaine is weak, wouldn't really recommend using him. We have Charles Martel that actually does a shield, so how about that? So you can activate his 15% skill damage increase, and probably various other commanders. There's also items that you can actually craft from your forge or blacksmith that can actually trigger this particular shield to actually increase his 15% skill damage, but it's nothing crazy. 15% skill damage, it's okay, it's something extra, but it's nothing really that crazy. Very, very powerful skills. Again, a lot of damage packed, but something that if you haven't noticed, there's no defense. So there's literally no defense in his skills. If you go into his talents, there is again kinda no defense. He has the skill talent tree, just a little bit of skill damage reduction. Well, the amount of nuke there is right now in the game, or the amount of commanders that can do large amount of skill damage, this is nada. Next to zero, niente. 6% reducing skill damage, you know, is just something in the air. When you go to the infantry tree, you do get some defensive options, and infantry is obviously a little bit more defensive, but like I said, considering the amount of skill damage there is in the game right now, this is not enough. The thing that can actually survive right now on the battlefield as part of infantry, that can survive that large amount of nuke, is actually commanders that have the defense talent tree when it comes to the infantry. This is where it actually brings Guan Yu, and like I said at the beginning of the video, that he can actually be used as a second in command as well, because there's nothing wrong, you still have his 4 skill. Because I want to ask you a question. Would you rather have 3-4 powerful nukes using him as primary, or you would rather have 10-15, probably even more, less nukes, or half of those nukes, or probably not even half if you consider his 4 skill, and still return with some troops at home in the end? Which one would you prefer? Just going in with Guan Yu primary, guns blazing, doing a lot of damage just a couple of times, and then getting smashed because everyone sees Guan Yu, no defense, bam, just like that you go down? Or you rather put someone that can actually give you the protection, can actually give you the stuff that you need, like Leonidas, you put him primary and then you put Guan Yu second. This is the same reason why a lot of players now use Sun Tzu as a second in command, because for the same reason. Sun Tzu being primary, everyone knows that the amount of skill damage there is in the game right now, he's pretty weak with the skill that he has, in terms of defense. Don't get me wrong, he's not weak as a commander, but in terms of defense. So what players doing right now, including me, I'm using Sun Tzu, but I'm using him as a second in command, meaning that I'm hiding him behind a powerful, commander that is primary. So that's exactly what a lot of players do. They either do Charles and Sun Tzu, they either do Richard and Sun Tzu, or probably even Constantine and Sun Tzu. There's nothing wrong in that either. They use some very strong and defensive commander primary, and then they use a nuking commander secondary. You can do the same with Guan Yu. There's nothing wrong and there's nothing shameful, because infantry has never been designed to actually do huge and large amount of damage in short amount of time. Infantry in the game was always designed to actually do damage over time, taking their time to do the damage. It's kind of situation. But where Guan Yu can actually excel, and this is something that a lot of players didn't test it, he can excel in rallies, because 2000 damage factor in a rally, and especially if you use a second in command, a commander that can actually boost that nuke, because a rally is a no joke, I tell you that. Especially if you use a commander that can increase the active skill damage by another 50% like YSG and brings you even more rage restoration, then that could be a very devastating rally. This is a main reason why Alexander primary and YSG secondary is working, because of the amount of nuke they both pack together, the rage restoration plus a little bit of AoE if someone is trying to swarm the rally, and even if someone is trying to swarm the rally, you have an infantry rally, not any kind of rallies, so that can be very devastating for the players that are trying to swarm the rally. So this is where I actually see Guan Yu excelling the most. He also has the conquering talent tree, meaning that it's built to rally garrisons. But that doesn't mean that he's useless on the field battles. On the same note, just in case you're wondering, why would they do an infantry commander that is only good for rallies? On the same note, we have another commander similar to Guan Yu, which is Edward. Edward is the same. He hits like a train. If his primary commander 2500 damage factor on his primary skill, that's freaking insane. That's a lot of nuke. But when he's on the field battles, if he is actually getting swarmed, if he's actually getting targeted, he just goes down. I'm telling you a true story because I used him. Since he's very powerful, his max skill, I have decent equipment for him as well. Not right now, but usually when I use him, he does. I use second in command YSG, and I go to do field battles, okay? And my hospital obviously is empty. I go, I fight. Usually Edward gets smashed. I get back. I go to the hospital to heal my troops. Around 100,000 are archers, and around 160,000 are cavs from 4 marches. Now why is that? Because everybody knows that he's weak, and he's boom, he just get demolished. So probably why, until he's getting noticed, he does a lot of damage, because I've actually checked some reports and they are really phenomenal with all that skill damage bonus that he has packed with YSG. You know, all together they kind of do a lot of damage. But if they are getting targeted right at the beginning, or anyway mid fight or close to the end, that's the result of the hospital builds. So is it actually worth it to actually use him? Not so much. This is why I go with 5 caps. If one pair is getting targeted and it goes yellow, like, you know, just really fast, I just retreat it back and I just don't fill my hospital without any reason. So this is where Guan Yu can actually be used on the battlefield. Using him as a second in command, there's no shame. There's literally no shame on using him as a second in command. You still have 1,000 damage factor up to 3 targets, even though it gets decreased by a little bit, but the additional damage factor is not getting decreased. There is nothing saying here that if Guan Yu is a second in command, this is half. You get it? What I'm saying? So it's still a lot of nuke pack with Guan Yu, even if he's a second in command. On the other hand, he is protected by a very tanky commander, which when is, you know, the field battles, that madness, everyone, and I'm telling you that everyone except me is avoiding to hit defensive commanders like Richard, Charles, and in the future Leonidas, because they know they have the defense talent tree, they know they are very tanky, and they go down very hard. Everyone is targeting the nuker, easy targets, they want to reduce the numbers. So in all that time, your Guan Yu will just gonna pound and pound doing skill damage. On top of that, it has a very unique capability of silencing for 3 seconds. So not 2, not 1, just 3 seconds. And I'm telling you that in Sunset Canyon, and I can show you right now, in the Sunset Canyon, this is a huge and very powerful. This player, for example, it's unbeatable. You can see by the score that all these players are trying to beat him or to find a way to actually beat him, but they are not managing to do it so, because Guan Yu does a lot of silence. 3 second silence, that's huge. That's really huge. So obviously he has a lot of utilities, Guan Yu. You just need to use him, you know exactly where he excels the most. Now let's go to some of his talent builds, because obviously, like I said, he's very good for rallies. Alright, so I hope you guys can actually see it better. This is from wrongtalents.com. I have done a video. I'm definitely gonna post a link for that as well, because I've done a video where I actually showed talents of Guan Yu and Leonidas, so you definitely want to check that video as well. If I would have to use him on rallies, this would be the build that I would do. Now this might sound really crazy, like infantry rage build. Well, that's exactly what you need if you want to rally with him. You don't need any kind of march speed. All you need is just infantry bonuses as much as you can, and rage restoration plus skill damage. That's exactly what you want to empower. Now there's a couple of other things that probably a lot of people would go like, well, why don't you go with latent power? There's quite a large amount of additional damage that Guan Yu does. That's very true, but then what are you trading from the infantry talent tree? This is the question. Or you rather go without feral nature on a rally. When you do a rally, you need to pop skills as often as possible. This is why my Edward rallies are actually so successful, and they're actually doing so much damage even against commanders that should actually stop skill damage, just because it's the rage restoration. You need to restore and you need to do as many skills as possible with this type of commanders. So for that reason, this is kind of the build that I would suggest. Now if you want to go do field battles with him, you can probably drop feral nature, to tell you the truth, for field battles, because most likely you get swarmed. If you want to use him as primary for field battles, you want to insist on using him as primary with probably, I don't know, Leonidas second. But still, if I would suggest that if you have a max Guan Yu for field battles, just put him as second. Just don't take the risk. Why take it? Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, rather have 15 nukes of 1000 than just having 3-4 nukes of 2000. That would be just my advice if you want to take it like that. If you actually want to do something for field battles, like I said, you can probably drop feral nature and the adjacent talent trees, or as many as is needed, and you can definitely get latent power if that will make you more happy. Or you can get more march speed, that's exactly 7, and with the latent power that's 10. Or you can go on the conquering and you can get some buckler shield to actually try to making a little bit more defensive. So then you have again 3, 6, 7 plus 3, that's 10. So again dropping feral nature and the other talents while still keeping rejuvenate and clarity. So you still get the additional damage and then you get a little bit of protection from buckler shield. But that's gonna be nothing. I'm telling you, that's gonna be nothing, because he doesn't have much defense in his skills. So you definitely need a defense talent tree leading. You definitely want someone like Leonidas. Plus Leonidas can build a decent rage build as well with his full defense tree and being very, very tanky in the same time. So I don't think there's actually anything wrong in using Leonidas and Guan Yu. So again, like I said, buckler shield, clarity, rejuvenate, latent power, and then you still have enough for Undying Fury, Iron Spear, and hold the line. Hold it as strong as it can. Just hold it and don't let go. So that would be pretty much what I have to say about Guan Yu. According to a lot of information that I get from players who have tested him, who have maxed him out, he's very, very powerful in rallies. So in rallies he's very, very powerful, but on the field battles he's very, very weak. And we kinda know similar commanders that have been introduced recently about that as well, even Attila. So as crazy as this sounds, when you do a rally with Attila, nobody swarms an Attila rally unless they don't know and they do it for the first time. Then they swarm it because they don't know. But after that, I guarantee you that nobody will swarm an Attila rally. But on the field battles, people swarm Attila because he's just a regular march, and you know, when 5-6 marches goes in, and he obviously melts. He does some damage. He definitely does some damage, but it's not enough, and he dies. You know. So this is what I'm trying to say. Rallies is something way different, where even strong and powerful nukers can actually excel, while field battles, you know, is completely different. Everyone has the same amount of troops and all that. Now I want to say another thing, because me personally, I'm not going to invest in Guan Yu, and I want to put this on the video as well. The reason why: the game is advancing more and more, the equipment is being released more and more, and it's very hard, even for any level of spending I'm introducing in this category, to actually focus on equipment and actually have good equipment for all 3 types of commanders. I'm talking about infantry, cavalry, or archer commanders. I tried to keep with cavalry and archers. I tried, and I actually wanted to have some infantry commanders for rallying, and since they released Guan Yu, I was actually looking into it because I have YSG, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get Guan Yu, I'm gonna max him out, max spin the wheel, then use universals and just max him out, have a rally commander. But this is something I didn't think about, is the equipment. how hard it's gonna be for me to start working on infantry equipment, to actually have decent equipment to rally with, because that will make a difference. It's not just having the commanders, it's not just having all that. The equipment now plays a very important role. So for example, this is my best equipment that I have for cabs right now. It's obviously going to improve. I have a gazillion of materials and blueprints. I just didn't find the time to work on it. Now, trying to work and do the same equipment for infantry to actually, make them useful for rallies as well, because you have the special talent, and this can actually give you the best insights about why is it good to choose a specialization in this game, because you have the special talent. So even if, let's say, I have an abyssal visage, obviously it has infantry attack, but it's not going to be with special talent or any other universal equipment that you can probably use on both archers and infantry. For example, Grease of the Exile. Well, this one, everyone has a gazillion of blueprints. There's not a problem, but just taking it as an example. You have the special talent. I've done it for archers. Now, if I use it for infantry, you're noticing that it's only 3% defense. So there goes where you actually need to choose a specialization, because you cannot have special talent, legendary equipment for all three type of armies. The amount of materials is insanely high and probably is nowhere near accessible, not even in a year, I would say. But we will see. So that's the reason why I'm not actually gonna invest in Guan Yu, just simply because I don't have the materials, or even if I want to invest the money, that's a lot of purchases that you need to do to actually get very good equipment for infantry as well. Even my archers at some point will go down, and probably gonna stop rallying with archers, just because my equipment on archers is getting outdated. You guys see what I'm using for archers, and then for the pants I'm putting the 4% defense, and for the weapon I'm putting the 5% attack, which is not really bad, it's actually really good, but still everything else is kind of getting outdated, because everything I'm investing is in cabs. I'm trying to update the cabs as much as I can. All the epic and everything that I'm crafting is for cabs, so that's my specialty. So this is something that I would advise everyone on any level of spending that they should actually focus on. Just try to choose a specialization, try to focus on a specialization, commanders, equipment, and troops as well. That'll be everything I have to say about Guan Yu. I hope you guys find this very helpful, and I hope you guys actually understand everything I said in this video. Until next time, this is your boy Johnny signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.